double.
Not there.
Not there and not all day long for Dragolescu. That was a big step back. In gymnastics, you can take 1 or 2 tenths for a step, and if it is more than, let's say, shoulder width apart, then it should be a 2-tenth deduction. The judges should take that. When you have a reputation like Dragolescu on floor, though, sometimes you don't. And when you can tumble like this, sometimes you don't want to.
This is big-time gymnastics, very powerful, as Tim mentioned. Check out the height that he gets on this tumbling pass.
He'll do a full twist here and then
rebound.
Change his direction.
That's very cool.
And somehow do that and not let those toes go over that white line, and the dismount here.
And when he's on, Tim, he usually sticks. It's never a problem for him.
Well, let's take a look at this. 2 flips, 2 twists, and see how far he steps back with that leg. Well, there's a slide.
Substantial step.
It should be 2, but I got to tell you, I think that the judges are only going to take 1.
And a big score for Dragolescu, 9.762. And so Romania in this first group gets the job done. All they have to think about is qualifying top 8 when the day is finished, and then these little extra steps and maybe beneficial scores all go away, and they start again fresh in the team. Miles all around for the men from Romania as we look forward for what is still to come on day 1. Tonight, the American men, reigning world silver medalists. Is a recovered leader good to go? Do the powerful twins put the team in position? What of Russia and Alexei Nemov, 12 Olympic medals and counting? And China, as good as it gets. That's tonight in NBC coverage of the game.
It's fair to say that if they leave these games without a team medal and more hardware in the individual events, it'll be a disappointment for them. The unquestioned star is Waukesha, Wisconsin's Paul Hamm. He's the reigning world all-around champion. Now tonight, as the men's competition begins with the qualifying phase, there's a whole lot at stake for Hamm and his teammates. Though the American men should easily finish in the top 8 of the team competition qualifying, today sets up everything else as well. Determining who qualifies for the single bad outing could undo 4 years of preparation. So for more, let's go out to the Olympic Indoor Hall across the way at the Athens Olympic Sports Complex and join Al Troutwig, Tim Daggett, and Elfie Schlegel. Al.
So basically, in day 1 of gymnastics, you have got to get it done if you have hopes of going on further and continuing with your Olympic Games experience. Back at the Olympic Indoor Hall and day 1, the United States is in Group 2. Romania has set the bar earlier today in Group 1. The United States is competing with Russia here. Later on, we will see Ukraine, Japan, and China. In a moment, we will tell you why the minds of Jason Gatson and Blaine Wilson might be spinning here. But overall, right now, the karma of Team USA is good after the first rotation in this Group 2. They were on the parallel bars, and no one was better than Paul Hamm, the reigning world champion.
Yeah, the USA, I don't believe that they could have been any better on their first event. They were phenomenal, to say the least, and this exercise from Paul Hamm, certainly the best parallel bar routine I have ever seen him perform. Everything is so smooth, one skill after another.
And Tim, this really isn't shocking because we've been watching practices all week long, and he has been hot. He has been absolutely on in all his apparatus. He's really, really proving to everyone that he is a contender in the all-around.
So the United States, on the first of 6 apparatus on the opening day, gets a 9.762 from Paul Hamm, and that was part of a trend on the parallel bars. Now, back to Blaine Wilson and Jason Gatson. After day 1 of training, the only day on this apparatus, the head judge at high bar, a Japanese man, told the United States that some skills in their high bar routines were not scored as highly as they thought they would be. So now, at the last minute, what are we told, Tim Daggett, that Jason Gatson and Blaine Wilson are going to do?
Well, unbelievably, they are going to change their routine. And this is so significant, Al, because if you were to ask the top athletes in the world, Jason Gatson, Blaine Wilson, those kind of caliber athletes, what they would like to do in preparation for an Olympic Games. There's Swalcato. He's the head judge that made this ruling. They would say that to feel comfortable at an Olympic Games, I need about a year of practicing an exact routine. Well, these guys have gotten in their head for about 2 days on changing that routine, and it is very significant.
And if you think that Brett McClure isn't thinking about the stress and what the team has been going through, you're absolutely wrong. He is starting off high bar for the U.S. This is an important score. He sets the stage for the rest of the team.
And although Brett does not have the specific element that was definitely said wasn't going to get the value points, he has a couple of questionable ones in his exercise as well. Frankly, the USA doesn't know how this routine is going to be scored. At this point, though, it's all about just going up there and getting the job done, catching the bar.
And that is what Brett is known for. Consistency, clean lines. He looks great on high bar.
Very flexible gymnast, uses that flexibility to gain a lot of bonus points. Big dismount.
Going to be a good score.
Pretty big stick, because he knows that the USA team does not know what to expect now from Blaine Wilson and Jason Gatson, and they know they're going to have to keep at least one of those scores.
Well, that was a great job from Brett. No question about it.
Start us off. Come on, Jason.
Yeah, so far, this USA team, they've been fantastic.
And now Jason Gatson. He's got the biggest body in these games. He is one muscular, Hercules-looking man. He has gone through 6 surgeries on his knees. In 2 nationals, we have seen him blow apart his knee. He has questioned whether he should even continue in gymnastics. He has, obviously, and now finally finds himself in the Olympic Games. 9.662.
That's a very good number for the first guy out. So I tell you, if it was me in the Olympic Games and a judge came up and said that you had to change your routine, a routine that you knew had a certain value, that got a certain value at the last World Championships, and now all of a sudden wasn't, man, I would be so mad, and it would be hard to keep it together. And right there, he lost some concentration. He doesn't grab the bar in the right way. Cost him a ton of bonus points. And this is not a great routine. Here's his release. That was okay. Well, although this is not a busted routine, this is not going to get a big score. And I think that Jason Gatson was rattled. These athletes want things so practiced. They want it to be like automatic pilot. And he had to do a lot of extra thinking there.
And remember, he hasn't had the time. It's been less than 2 days that he's had to make this change. He hasn't put in the numbers.
Now, again, this judge in question is an Olympic gold medalist. He understands and has to sympathize and empathize with what this has done to Blaine Wilson and Jason Gatson. Gatson's score and the potential effect on Blaine Wilson as we continue in day 1 of gymnastics. Jason Gatson has committed himself to the sport of gymnastics. Now 48 hours before day 1 of his first Olympics. He's told that a high bar routine that he has been practicing for more than a year has to be changed if he wants to get a score that he would want to get, a high score. And there is Judge Cato, the man who made the ruling that affects both Gatson and Blaine Wilson. Tim, you believe that it affected Jason Gatson in a big way.
Well, I do. I believe that, like I said, he has practiced the routine so many times, and it really flusters you, you know? I mean, first of all, you think it's wrong that the judge shouldn't be able to do that. Much bigger change. Jason Gatson, and this number, very disappointing. Very disappointing. But Blaine, the change that he has decided to make, it's a little bit risky, to say the least. He is going to be adding a release skill that he was not planning on doing, a very difficult one.
And that release skill, Tim, he did on podium training. He missed completely and never got a second chance to practice it again. It's coming up right here. Oh!
He's got to be angry now. got to be angry at the judge, angry that he couldn't